A gleaming showroom filled with luxury cars, their chrome and polished surfaces catching every drop of light. In walks a woman in plain clothes, her simple appearance at odds with the opulence surrounding her. The salespeople exchange glances. No one moves to help her. What they don't realize is that Sophia Chen isn't lost. She's exactly where she needs to be, and their world is about to change forever. Before we dive into the story, comment below where in the world you're watching from. Sophia Chen tugged self-consciously at the sleeve of her faded gray sweater as she stepped through the glass doors of Prestige Motors. The showroom stretched before her like a museum of automotive excellence. Sleek sports cars in vibrant colors, their polished surfaces reflecting the recessed lighting from above. A security guard by the entrance straightened slightly, his eyes narrowing as he assessed her well-worn jeans and scuffed boots. Sophia pretended not to notice, keeping her shoulders back as she moved deeper into the showroom. "Just looking," she said with a smile, when he took a half step toward her. The space smelled of leather, polish, and money. Lots of money. 3 salespeople stood in a cluster near a red convertible, their conversation halting as she passed. Sophia felt their eyes on her back, but continued toward a sleek black coupe with butterfly doors raised in elegant invitation. "Beautiful," she murmured, running her fingertips lightly along the car's contours. "It certainly is." The Veloce GT. 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. The voice came from a young man with an earnest expression. His name tag read, David. 800 horsepower, carbon fiber body. "Would you like to see the interior?" Before Sophia could answer, another voice cut in, smooth as silk, but with an edge like a knife. "I'll handle this, David." A tall man in his 40s approached, his tailored suit probably worth more than everything Sophia was wearing combined. His smile didn't reach his eyes as he extended a manicured hand. "Marcus Reynolds, General Manager. Can I help you find something?" She recognized the tone, polite but dismissive. Sophia had heard it most of her life. "I'm interested in learning more about this model," she said, gesturing to the black coupe. Marcus's eyes flicked over her, taking in her simple ponytail, the absence of designer accessories, the worn leather messenger bag slung across her body. "This particular vehicle starts at $215,000, he said, emphasizing each syllable as if speaking to someone who might not understand basic numerals. "Perhaps you'd be more comfortable at our sister location. They specialize in more accessible options." Sophia smiled, unperturbed. "I understand the price point. I'd still like to hear more about its features." She caught David shifting uncomfortably behind Marcus, whose practiced smile tightened. "Of course," Marcus replied, his tone cooling further. "But we typically reserve test drives and detailed presentations for serious buyers." He glanced pointedly at her worn messenger bag. "Our time is quite valuable here at Prestige." A wealthy couple browsing nearby exchanged knowing looks. The woman, draped in designer clothing, whispered something to her husband that made him chuckle. Sophia felt her cheeks warm slightly, but maintained her composure. "I am a serious buyer," she stated calmly. "I'd like to see the engine specifications." Marcus laughed, the sound sharp and dismissive. "Ma'am, perhaps there's been a misunderstanding. These vehicles require substantial financing approval or cash deposits even to begin the purchasing process." 2 other salespeople had drifted closer, their expressions ranging from amusement to discomfort. One of them, a woman with a sleek bob haircut, smirked openly. "Perhaps she won the lottery, Marcus," she suggested, loud enough for everyone to hear. Marcus gestured toward the exit. "I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave. We have clients with appointments arriving shortly." His tone left no room for argument. Security can assist you if necessary. Sophia stood her ground, her expression calm, despite the public humiliation. Is there someone else I could speak with? Your sales director, perhaps? I am the general manager, Marcus said sharply, drawing himself up. And I've made my decision. Several customers were now openly watching the exchange. David took a half step forward, looking torn, but Marcus silenced him with a glare. It's all right, Sophia said to David. I understand how this looks. What it looks like, Marcus said, voice dripping with condescension, is someone wasting valuable time in a place they don't belong. Now, if you'll excuse me. He stopped mid-sentence as the front doors opened and an older man in an impeccable suit entered. The newcomer spotted Sophia, and his face lit up with recognition. Miss Chen, he called out warmly, I apologize for being late for our meeting. The silence that fell over the showroom was absolute. Marcus's smile faltered as the older man approached, extending his hand to Sophia. Miss Chen, I'm Richard Hammond, Regional Director for Prestige Automotive Group. I trust our staff has been accommodating during your wait. They've been informative, Sophia replied, accepting his handshake. Marcus stepped forward, confusion evident on his face. You have an appointment with Miss Chen? Richard nodded, his expression pleasant but professional. Of course. The board confirmed the acquisition yesterday. Miss Chen requested this location visit before our full team meeting tomorrow. He turned to Sophia. I hope you found everything satisfactory so far. Marcus's face drained of color. Acquisition? Richard looked at him with mild surprise. You haven't been properly introduced? Miss Chen is the new majority owner of Prestige Motors. All 5 locations. The wealthy couple who had been snickering earlier suddenly found intense interest in examining a nearby vehicle's interior. The saleswoman with the sleek bob seemed to physically shrink. But she doesn't look like. Marcus began, then caught himself. Like someone who could purchase a luxury car dealership. Sophia finished for him, her voice calm. That's precisely why I wanted to experience our customer service firsthand. She glanced around the showroom, and I've learned quite a lot already. David, the young salesman who had initially approached her, couldn't suppress a smile. Marcus noticed and shot him a venomous look. Miss Chen, there's clearly been a misunderstanding, Marcus stammered, his confident demeanor crumbling. Had I known who you were. That's exactly the problem, isn't it? Sophia cut in. Our approach shouldn't change based on who we think our customers are. She turned to David. You were willing to help me before knowing my position. I appreciate that. Richard checked his watch. Shall we continue with the tour? I've arranged for access to all departments. Yes, please, Sophia said. David, would you mind joining us? I'd value your perspective. As David stepped forward eagerly, Sophia addressed Marcus once more. We'll discuss your approach to customer service during tomorrow's management meeting. I believe everyone deserves a second chance to demonstrate their value. The look on Marcus's face as they walked away, a mixture of mortification and dawning dread, was noticed by everyone in the showroom. The saleswoman who had mocked Sophia earlier quickly busied herself with paperwork, avoiding eye contact with anyone. I apologize for how you were treated, Richard murmured as they moved toward the service department. Sophia shook her head. Don't. This was exactly what I needed to see. She glanced back at Marcus, who stood frozen in place. Some people judge books by their covers. I prefer to read what's inside. David guided Sophia and Richard through the service department, pointing out features with genuine enthusiasm. Our technicians are certified for all our luxury brands, he explained, gesturing towards several mechanics in pressed uniforms working on high-end vehicles. But we're short-staffed right now. Why is that? Sophia asked, noting the empty service bays. The service manager increased certification requirements, David said hesitantly. Some good techs couldn't afford the training costs. Sophia nodded, making notes on her phone. Richard watched her with approval. As they continued the tour, Marcus suddenly appeared, his composure somewhat recovered. He had changed his tie and applied fresh cologne. Miss Chen, if I could join your tour. As general manager, I should be explaining our operations. Of course, Sophia replied evenly. David was just explaining the service department staffing issues. Marcus shot David a withering look. I'm sure he's exaggerating. We maintain the highest standards. Standards are important, Sophia agreed, but not at the expense of good people. They moved to the customer lounge, where a young mother struggled to keep her toddler occupied while waiting for her car. The child's cries echoed through the otherwise empty space. Perhaps we should move elsewhere, Marcus suggested with a grimace. The noise... Actually, this is perfect, Sophia interrupted. Why isn't there a children's area? Most customers are families. Our typical clientele doesn't bring children, Marcus said dismissively. The woman looked up, embarrassment coloring her cheeks. I'm so sorry, she said. My husband dropped us off. The service advisor said my car would be ready an hour ago. Which advisor? Marcus demanded, his tone sharp. Sophia held up her hand. That's not important right now. What's important is helping this customer. She turned to the woman with a warm smile. I'm Sophia. Let me check on your car personally. As they walked away, Marcus hissed to David. Find out who took this appointment and have them in my office immediately. Richard cleared his throat loudly. Marcus, perhaps you misunderstood Miss Chen's approach. She seems concerned with fixing problems, not assigning blame. Marcus's smile was tight. Of course, customer service is my highest priority. Sophia returned moments later. They're finishing now. It was delayed because they were waiting for manager approval on warranty work. My approval? Marcus asked, his face flushing again. Yes, apparently you were unavailable earlier. When I was dealing with you, he realized aloud, then immediately regretted his words. Sophia nodded. Exactly. And while you were busy trying to remove me from the showroom, this customer's time was being wasted. The young mother approached, her toddler balanced on her hip. They said my car is ready now. Thank you for your help. I'm glad we could resolve it, Sophia replied, handing her a business card. Please call this number directly if you have any future concerns. After the customer left, Sophia turned to Marcus. Let's move on to your sales incentive structure. In the conference room, Marcus presented a complex chart showing commission tiers. The highest rewards went to salespeople who sold the most expensive models with the fewest concessions. So your team is incentivized to ignore anyone who doesn't look like a big spender, Sophia observed. We focus on efficiency, Marcus countered. Our salespeople shouldn't waste time on window shoppers. Like me? Sophia asked quietly. Richard winced visibly while David studied the ceiling with sudden interest. That was different, Marcus insisted, his collar suddenly tight. And frankly, Miss Chen, your unorthodox approach put me in an impossible position. Did it? Sophia leaned forward. Or did it reveal exactly how your leadership operates when you think no one important is watching? Marcus's face reddened. My sales numbers speak for themselves. We've had record profits 3 quarters running. At what cost? Sophia countered. I've seen at least 5 potential customers walk through those doors in the past hour. Your team approached exactly none of them. They weren't qualified buyers, Marcus insisted. How could you possibly know that? Sophia's voice remained calm, but her eyes were steel. The same way you knew about me? The silence that followed was deafening. David shifted uncomfortably while Richard checked his watch. The tour continued to the finance department, where a wall displayed photos of the finance team of the month. Sophia noticed immediately that every single photo featured the same two people. Only two finance managers? She asked. Ted and Philip are our specialists, Marcus explained. They handle all our premium clientele. And the others? We had 3 more, but they didn't meet expectations. David cleared his throat. They quit after their offices were moved to the back hallway. Marcus shot him a warning look. They weren't team players. Sophia made another note on her phone. Show me the customer satisfaction surveys. Marcus hesitated. Those are typically compiled quarterly. I'd like to see the raw data, Sophia interrupted. Today. While an assistant gathered the surveys, they visited the parts department. The manager, a woman named Janet, greeted them warmly until Marcus introduced Sophia as the new owner. Janet's demeanor instantly changed. Miss Chen, I've been requesting additional inventory storage for months, she said, pointing to overflowing shelves. We're losing efficiency. Request denied due to budget constraints, Marcus cut in. As I've explained repeatedly. Yet we renovated your office twice last year, Janet replied, her frustration evident. Back in the conference room, Sophia reviewed the customer surveys. The pattern was unmistakable. Complaints about wait times, dismissive treatment, and high-pressure sales tactics. Most disturbing were several notes about favoritism toward wealthy-looking customers. These survey results are concerning, Sophia said, finally. Customers always complain about something, Marcus replied with a dismissive wave. Our sales numbers prove we're doing something right. Numbers aren't everything, Sophia replied. I built my business on relationships, not transactions. Richard nodded approvingly, while David looked at Sophia with newfound respect. With all due respect, Ms. Chen, Marcus said, leaning forward, luxury automotive sales is a specialized business. Your experience with, what was it again? Small repair shops, hardly translates to our clientele. The room fell silent. Even Richard seemed stunned by Marcus's audacity. Sophia set down her pen and looked directly at Marcus. I think I've seen enough for today. David stood quickly to escort her out, but Sophia motioned for him to stay seated. Before I go, I'd like to clarify something, Marcus. She placed her worn messenger bag on the conference table. You're right that I started with small repair shops. 3, to be exact. My father taught me mechanics when I was 12. She unzipped the bag and removed a thin folder. Those shops gave me the foundation to build Chen Automotive Group, which now owns 27 dealerships across 4 states. She slid the folder toward him, including this one as of yesterday. Marcus opened the folder with trembling fingers. Inside was the acquisition paperwork with his dealership's name prominently displayed. This location has the highest revenue in our portfolio, Sophia continued, but the lowest customer satisfaction scores and highest staff turnover. Now I understand why. Marcus's face flushed crimson. These surveys are misleading. Our wealthy clients have high expectations. That's not what I saw today, Sophia interrupted. I saw a business focused on appearances rather than people. She stood up. Richard, could you gather the entire staff? I'd like to introduce myself properly. 20 minutes later, the showroom floor was filled with employees from every department. Standing on the platform normally reserved for their most exclusive vehicles, Sophia addressed them all. I'm Sophia Chen, your new owner. Her voice carried clearly through the space. I believe luxury isn't just about expensive products. It's about exceptional experiences for everyone who walks through our doors. The room was completely silent, every eye fixed on Sophia. Today, I experienced your dealership as an ordinary customer, she continued. What I found was a culture where appearances matter more than people. Some of you treated me like an inconvenience because I didn't look like your idea of a serious buyer. Sophia's gaze moved deliberately across the faces watching her. Marcus stared at the floor. Starting tomorrow, we're making changes. First, our commission structure will reward customer satisfaction, not just sales volume. Second, every employee will receive additional training on unconscious bias. She noticed several hopeful expressions among the staff. Third, we're establishing a tuition assistance program for certification training. And fourth, we're creating dedicated spaces for customers with children. Janet from Parts visibly brightened. David was grinning openly now. Those who embrace these changes will thrive here. Those who can't, she paused meaningfully. Well, that will be their choice to make. Marcus wiped perspiration from his forehead with a monogrammed handkerchief. One last thing, Sophia added. I didn't build my company by dismissing people. I built it by recognizing potential where others saw nothing of value. She smiled at David. Sometimes the greatest assets aren't the ones that shine the brightest at first glance. The staff meeting dispersed with a renewed energy, conversations buzzing throughout the showroom. Marcus stood alone, his perfect suit suddenly feeling like a costume rather than armor. His phone buzzed with texts from the regional sales director. Word had already spread. David approached Sophia as she gathered her notes. Ms. Chen, thank you for the opportunity today. You earned it by doing something simple but rare, treating people with respect regardless of their appearance. Marcus finally mustered the courage to approach, his confident stride replaced by hesitant steps. Miss Chen, I hope we can discuss my position privately. Tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, she replied evenly. Bring your ideas for implementing our new customer service approach. Of course, he said, swallowing hard. I've always been adaptable. Sophia's expression remained neutral. We'll see. Richard escorted Sophia to her car. Not the luxury vehicle Marcus had expected, but a modest electric sedan. Impressive handling of a difficult situation, Richard remarked. Most new owners would have fired him on the spot. Sometimes transformation is more valuable than termination, Sophia replied, unlocking her car. Besides, people who've made mistakes often become the most dedicated advocates for change. 6 months later, the showroom of Prestige Motors hummed with activity. Families browsed comfortably in the new children's area, while salespeople, wearing name tags that now included the phrase, "How can I help?" engaged equally with everyone who entered. Sophia watched from her modest office, the walls now displaying customer testimonials instead of sales records. A knock at the door revealed Marcus, his expression more relaxed than she'd ever seen it. Quarterly numbers, he said, handing her a folder. Customer satisfaction up 38%. And sales up 17%. He smiled, genuinely. You were right. Relationships build revenue. How's David doing as sales director? Better than I would have expected, Marcus admitted. His training program is working. Through the window, they watched as Janet from Parts led a certification class for new technicians. Many hired from the community college program Sophia had established. Sometimes, Sophia said quietly, our greatest value isn't in what we own or how we look, but in how we treat the world around us. Marcus nodded thoughtfully. I needed that lesson more than anyone. Outside, a woman in worn jeans approached the showroom. A salesperson immediately moved to welcome her. Some things change, and sometimes that makes all the difference.